Hi folks, Favourite Woods is a bit moist. That's what I'm going to put it. It is a bit moist, yes. Okay, so well, I said previously I would ask God why it was a vehicle that he wanted me to stand on, rather than the woman that I was going to actually marry. Yeah, the woman that was actually made for me. And it's like, well, last night I got a few little bits and pieces, but the most important thing I got was that it was also her, for her sake as well. Because I think it highlighted some things in her that God wants to deal with. And if that's the case, then that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Yes. Well, because if it's going to help her to be more of who she needs to be, then brilliant. If God is paying attention to her and getting her right, then he's getting her right for a reason. So that's good. Yes. So that's absolutely brilliant. Well, as I say, I do know that it was supposed to be her. And it's supposed to be her for reasons for me. Well, as I say, as I've said before, it was obvious that at the time I had to believe she was single. So God got her to behave in a way that was certainly in no way, shape or form suggesting she was married. Making it pretty obvious to me that she was single, not married. Which again, I don't blame her for in any way, shape or form. Because if that was God doing that, then that was God doing that. So that's cool. Well, because when God put love in me for her, I had to believe that she was single, because obviously if I had believed she was married, there would be no way, shape or form I would accept that love. Absolutely not. And I had to find out she was married in the way I did, because I had to crash. I had to have that crash around about the 24th of October. That had to happen, and it did. So that's cool. That had to be something that happened, and it did. It most certainly did happen, so it's like, that's cool, indeed. There's someone with dogs over there, with a dog. Typical. Start doing the video, then as soon as I start, someone comes with a dog. So, when there's a second do, I'll let that person go, and then I will continue. Yeah, well, basically, finding out she was married, that caused the, probably, I think, the worst fear. My worst fear to happen, and that was the possibility of losing trust in God. Because if God put love in me for someone who is married, then if you can't trust God, then your relationship with God is completely dead, isn't it, really? And that's the situation. That's why that video on the 24th of October is so incredibly emotional, and that's why there's a lot of anger in it, is because I was in that situation of, Father, you did this, how am I supposed to trust you knowing that you did this? And that had to happen, because then God said to me afterwards, you've had your two worst fears happen, you're still alive, so there's nothing left for you to fear. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that is true though. Yeah. So I had to go through that. And then God, for many reasons, it had to be at least someone in her situation. And it had to be someone born in the country she was in, because that's what I wrote down 14 years earlier. It had to be someone who could at least, for the time that I first met her, portray that nature, because most women in church can't. They just can't. Not quite that. As I say, I was impressed with her on that day, with her nature. So therefore, that also helped me to believe that maybe that was a person, because she had some of the qualities that I'd written down 14 years ago. Had she have had none of those, put it this way, had she had been the way she had after that time, certainly after the 24th, had she been that way to me as she was then, there's no way, shape or form I would have accepted any love for her. God, are you crazy? Why would I? No. So it had to be as it was. Because also the way she was to me after the 24th, you know, that way was what encouraged me to fall on a number of occasions, because that made it look so much more impossible at the time. So standing in faith in God, that God said, so therefore God, I need to trust in that. When I looked at the evidence, which is what I saw in her, it's like, bloody hell, are you kidding me, Father? This is the situation? But it had to be that way. You know, so it's like, yeah. Everything had to be the way it was. And, yeah. All I know is, from what God said to me last night, is, had it been your actual wife, the woman you're going to marry, that was going to be your destination, you wouldn't have fallen. You know, you had to fall. And you had to fall in the ways you did. And, you know, there was a lot of things that happened during that 8 months that happened because of who it was. And, you know, that all had to happen. That was all part of the journey. Some things that were incredibly important that wouldn't have happened had it been the actual person that I'm supposed to marry. So it's like, yeah, cool. Yeah. And as I say, you know, to me, you know, if God is now going to bless her by doing things in her and helping her and dealing with her character now, then fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. I couldn't be happier for her, certainly, if that's the case. So, yeah. And, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go into details of what God said to me, because I think it's inappropriate to do so. I'm not going to do that. But if God shares something with me about why it had to be the case for me that I've not already shared, then I will share it if I can. You know, if it would be the right thing to do. Yeah. There you go. That'll do, I think, for now. There's not much more to do, apart from in saying that, I was thinking about things earlier, and I was getting some more things from God about the future, which is going to be, just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So there you go. You take care. God bless. Bye bye.